Okay. So, on the last stream, the Redhead's music in-game was a little bit louder than she was expecting. Maybe that's a Midsummer thing. So let me know if my voice is coming across sufficiently over the in-game sound. Anyway, hello and welcome to Plugging Along, a stream dedicated to LOTRO plugins. Last time, on Plugging Along, we reviewed changes needed to add the Update 36 Renewal of Gondor deeds to the Deed Tracker plugin, and then we fixed a few smaller items before releasing Deed Tracker version 3.1. Today, we're going to switch to the Festival Buddy plugin and work on adding Midsummer Festival quests. We'll also spend some time on a pet project of mine, incorporating Little Redhead's LOTRO Midsummer Festival Quick Guide into Festival Buddy, so that it checks things off as you finish them and presents them in the same order as that guide, which I pretty much have it open on one screen and am following through on the other. And so this is going to be a way to incorporate them together. As always, feel free to jump in and chat with your thoughts and questions. And in the meantime, let's go ahead and switch over to my desktop view. Okay, so what I have in mind, besides just adding quests into Festival Buddy, which I've already started doing a little bit over the last couple of days, for instance, for the To the Last Drop quest, what I think I'm going to do is take this image from the LOTRO wiki, which I think Egg Arthur uploaded. Easy enough to double check. Come on over here to LOTRO wiki, and we're going to search for To the Last Drop. Okay. And in this, if we go to the walkthrough, we have this image here. Click it open, and look at that. Egg Arthur uploaded it June of last year. Great job, Egg Arthur. Thank you so much. Awesome. So taking this and embedding it into the plugin, and taking this text as well. There's 9 glasses, 8 of them are in fixed position. The 9th one's the one you're looking for. Awesome. So we can take that, embed the image into the plugin, and then include that text as well, including, as has been pointed out several times, the wrong responses are kind of fun for that one. So, a fizzling effervescence on your tongue. This wine is not supposed to have bubbles. All the way down to a robust, heady taste of wet dog. So we can put kind of whatever text we want down here, and we have a little bit of space for a carefully crafted image. And luckily, that image was pretty much the right size and dimensions that we wanted to stick into this plugin without changing things up too much. So what I wanted to do was have a quick guide, and this wouldn't be for every festival. Like for instance, Midsummer is the only one where we have one right now. But in this quick guide, what I want to do is sort of present the order of things, like Little Redhead spells out in her quick guide. In fact, I think I've got a version of it here. This one. This was linked during her stream. I'm going to go ahead and put that out here. Little Redhead's well, here, let me properly title it. LOTRO Midsummer Festival Quick Guide. I'll put a link to that in chat as well. lifeboundtheshire.com/LOTRO Midsummer Festival Quick Guide. Pretty straightforward. So I use this every Midsummer. I go through and I just I'm doing each one of these bullet points essentially one after the other. And my thought was, what if that could go into a plugin, and what if the plugin could tell that you have done the thing? Probably. Unfortunately, quest updates don't highlight which quest they're a part of. But if you get the message delivered pastries while you're in the Midsummer Minas Tirith, there's probably only one quest it correlates to, and so we can just assume, right? We can just say, okay, good enough. And since I love me some checklists, and I like being able to cross things off, but I don't want things, like there's going to be maybe 100 different entries in this list. I don't want them to sit around. So I thought it would be neat to go ahead and, hey, a couple seconds after you check it off, well, first it'll highlight green, and then it just goes away. So when you pick up all these quests at the beginning outside the Citadel, it'll automatically detect that and then check them off. Awesome. So what does this look like? Well, it looks like a couple of things. First of all, we want to know what are we going to display in this UI. I'm going to drag this UI over a little bit so we can see it and the code here. And so for each entry in the UI, I just say, here's what you should display. Now, right now they only have display entries in this table, but I am hoping to add some more items. So it's not just a lookup to a string, it's a lookup to a table that has a display string. And then we can see there's already 42 of these things. It gets a little unwieldy to try and deal with all of them. So I have some debug code that says just show some of them. So we're going to, instead of showing all of them, just the ones after number 39. That's easy enough to come unload and reload. And we can see we're just in the last 3 here. So where are we? We are in the Merry Swan, and I had just gotten to the point of documenting that we are doing these floral arrangements. Now, if you were paying attention or present during Little Redhead's stream, I'm sure she was in and out of here in about 20 seconds. It's going to take us a little bit longer to sort of figure out what quest notation, what entries in the quest filter channel can we use to key off of, or what quests can we pick up, or what quests can we turn in that kind of tell us where we are. And in this case, let's go ahead and go to the Merry Swan, place 2 floor arrangements on stage for arranging arrangements. I just did the first one, so if we get the message, place floral arrangements 2 out of 5, then we know we have done the ones in here, assuming someone's following the guide. If someone was saying, oh, what if I want to do it in a different order? Well, that's fine. Our guesses about where you are won't quite work, but with the grab the final wedding supplies between the 2 south guards, I've misspelled guards, I should go fix that. Guards. If you find the 5th wedding supply, it doesn't really matter where you found it, this will still get checked off, because we're looking for collected wedding supply crates 5 out of 5. As long as you hit that, every wedding supply crate 1 will have been checked off regardless of the order that you did it in. So I like that this is flexible, but I also would find it interesting to see other people's quick guides. Like this does not have to be a single, I decree it to be my quick guide and no one else's. If someone else had a quick guide, we could probably find a way to incorporate that in. But it's a lot of work sort of figuring out what triggers each one. So anyone who has an idea on that, let me know. But in the meantime, I have entered placed floor arrangements 2 out of 5 in here. And if we see that in text, we know that that completes number 42. 42 is go to the Merry Swan, place 2 floor arrangements. So let's give it a try. Ideally, if I place this floor arrangement, we're going to see that one turn green and then disappear after 3 seconds. Just like that. So it turned green and it's gone. So the other thing we want to do, the next item on here, is to get the keg for what ails you. Now, if we just run on up here, we have a barrel of ale. And so we know what that's supposed to look like. We've already gotten a barrel of ale somewhere, collected barrels of ale, 1 out of 4. What are we at? Barrels of ale 2. So we're really looking for number 3 here. Okay, barrels of ale 3 out of 4. Awesome. Now, I'm using Visual Studio Code with a few extensions, the Lua extension and the LOTRO API extension. And one of the things that will do is tell you when you have 2 keys in a table that are identical. Because it's just not going to do what you want to do, probably. So in this case, it can tell me, oh, you've already got 1 out of 4. You've already got 2 out of 4. Okay, 3 out of 4. That one's not in here yet. So if I needed a way to double check myself, I can use that IntelliSense highlighting to know that this is a unique key. And in this case, that's going to complete number 43, which we haven't written yet, but we should probably do that. All right. So, keg. What have I said before? Keg. Am I pressing the right key? I'm not. I was looking for a line number keg, which is not going to work. Oh, barrel. Aha. What ails you? Get barrel of ale in the splintered shield. That's a great message. We're just going to use that. Obviously, this is number 43. And this is the Merry Swan. Get barrel of ale in the Merry Swan. Great. So if we reload this, right now I don't save those checkmark progression. In my head, I'm not sure if that's worth the overhead, because if someone is just sort of burning through multiple characters using this quick guide, they're probably going to do the whole thing before logging off. But if they do log off in the middle of it, it'd be nice to be able to say which ones have already been completed. But that's a bit of a headache I think I want to cross once I have a sense of how many of these checkboxes there's going to be. In the meantime, get this barrel of ale. What ails you? Get barrel of ale in the Merry Swan. Done. As mentioned on the stream before, it can be a little hard to get over, assuming they were talking about that corner, so sometimes I get stuck, but that's okay. Awesome. So we are done with the Merry Swan, and the question is, what comes next? Well, I don't know, but the Midsummer Festival's Guide does. So I'm going to pull that up. Merry Swan. So get the rest of the wedding supplies. Done. Go into Merry Swan for a barrel, what ails you, and flowers on stage, arranging arrangements. Awesome. So we've got all of that. I don't have fireflies incorporated yet. They're not a part of the quick guide in my head because I so rarely do them. So I don't have a good idea for that. I'm going to ignore it for now. The danger of ignoring it, maybe there could be a separate thing in some way. I think so. I think I'm comfortable just having a Emerald Firefly quest in this list, and then the details are there. Maybe. I don't know. My problem is I don't know how to do optional things in this list, or I don't have any idea of how to do optional things. Optional, use your milestone. Optional, do the Emerald Firefly. Well, if you don't do it, are you just going to have to check it off? Checkbox enable Firefly quest. The problem is only one of the 4 is supposed to be there. And so now what you could do is you could say if any of the 4 complete, then hide the other 4. But in the meantime, they kind of stack up here as you blow past them. I don't know. I'm gonna revisit that. I don't want to get bogged down in that detail. I'd rather just release something that 95% of people can use for most of the thing and then come back to it. So we're going to ignore the fireflies. They don't exist. So return to Serial and then go up the nearby ramp. Awesome. What are we returning to Serial for? Sometimes that guide doesn't call out every little thing. I assume we're dropping off the sweet treats. Sweet treats quest. There we go. Which we did complete on our way over to the Merry Swan. I'm going to go ahead and call it out in here since I'm able to edit sort of on the fly. And so we can just add an entry into this list that says return to Curiel and turn in the Sweet Treats quest. Okay. Here's Curiel. And yes, that's going to be finishing the Sweet Treats quest. I'm trying to have some consistent ways of phrasing things, and so turn in quest to whoever. Okay, I can do that. 44, turn in, and this is going to be Sweet Treats, to Cereal, or Curiel as it probably is, but I do like calling the baker Cereal. It amuses me. Now, this is there's a couple of different ways to trigger the end of a objective in what I've set up here, and the three ones that are implemented right now is you just picked up a new quest. Maybe the objective was go pick up this quest. You just completed a quest. The objective was go turn the quest in, and you made some sort of progress on the quest that is reflected in the quest channel. Collected apples, for instance. Now, in this case, we're finishing the quest, so completed Sweet Treats. Now, sometimes it's nice to take the text that comes in and manipulate it in some way to make it a little nicer. But in this case, we're literally just comparing what message came in and is it in this table. And so we're just embedding these new lines here because it makes the comparison very easy. Agartha says, my pronunciation of cereal goes against the grain. And Little Redhead follows up, that's our bread and butter. Excellent. So this is objective number 44. One other thing that I have concern of is that these numbers, 44, are being tied together. If I had maybe a little bit more sense, I would probably make the equivalent of an enumeration up here. You know, sweet treats equals 44. And then I would use that in both here and here. In fact, I'll go ahead and start doing that because it's going to make life easier. As soon as I start renumbering these things, this will make it trivial. As opposed to all of these hard-coded linkages between the two tables, which is just bonkers. Like, I don't know why I did that. It was easier. I was doing this late at night one night and just testing it out to see if it would work. Okay, so we have a turn and sweet treats to cereal / carry-all, and we have a trigger that says we should end objective number sweet treats when that happens. Let's go ahead and reload. I have 2 chat commands that I'm just going up and replicating here. I think you can see those just below my face here. So I just go up to do a plugins unload, and then up again, because now it's 2 away, for the plugins / load. But you can also bind those as aliases on your quick slot bars, whichever you prefer. I tend to do the chat ones just because it's easier, but sometimes then I start typing in the chat and they go away, or they are further up in the history. Let's see. If I want to do that, alias, let's see, this is 1, well, this is 12, 24, 36, 48, so this is like 49. / plugins unload festival buddy. Oh, I'm thinking shortcuts, not aliases. So / shortcut, shortcut, and then shortcut location, and then the text string / shortcut space 49 space / plugins space unload space festival buddy. That gets me a plugin. I can do the same thing in spot 50, plugins load, and this one is going to be festival buddy with a space. Oops. Unfortunately, I pressed the up and overrode it. So load festival buddy. Now, unfortunately, the space in festival buddy can make that a problem. So I'm going to try putting double quotes in here and see if that works.
People are asking you SSG dev questions.
It did not. Oh, I see I've missed a little chat.
Those ones are not being published.
Exo says, got Orion to log a ticket for investigating target effect tracking bugs in the API. There might be hope yet. Well, Exo, that's very exciting. I know there's a lot of potential for a lot of plugins that involve things with your targets that are harder to do with those little glitches. That's pretty cool. Billy Ostrich, please give spoiler about the crafting system. So, first of all, I don't work for Standing Stone Games. I'm just a fan of both the game and plugins, and I'm here to, I guess, advocate on behalf of how much fun I have writing plugins for Lord of the Rings Online. That being said, if you haven't already heard it, 2 things I think I have heard that may still be true, but there's no guarantees, is that they hope to unbundle vocations. So you don't have to be a tinker that is jeweler, prospector, cook. You could perhaps be a jeweler, prospector, scholar, for instance. You could choose your own. And I think they've also stated that they would like to have players be able to do a 4th profession. So maybe I could be jeweler, prospector, cook, scholar. Or jeweler, prospector, metalsmith, weaponsmith, that kind of thing. And so I don't think those are spoilers, and I don't know that they are guaranteed, but oh good. Delirian points out Severlin will join Cordovan on Friday, so bring your spoiler-seeking questions to Friday's stream. That's noon server time, and maybe they'll have more information about it. It's one of those things where they're talking, I keep forgetting to set a bookmark to this, but LOTRO 2023, well, I just really want LOTRO.com, and in the list of articles down here, there was a roadmap that was put out, and I'm going to see if I can pull it up real fast. And that roadmap I thought was very helpful to refer back to as we go through the year. Let's see. There we go. A look at LOTRO's 2023. So this is the main points that they are working to hit throughout 2023, and if they do more than that, awesome. For instance, I don't know if it counts as quarter 2 or quarter 3, but they did a landscape difficulty release across all servers, probably quarter 2, and I don't think that was anywhere around here. That was just an extra sort of bonus thing that they were able to do. In addition to things. So the crafting updates is all across the year. They're doing things, at least behind the scenes, hopefully. Continued craft updates, ongoing crafting updates, crafting updates, and new tier. So this is something that is ongoing. Oh, crafting revision begins was in the very first column. So this is something that's ongoing, and what happens at the end of it is as much a mystery to me as anyone, but I have hopes that both of those two things, the fourth one and the unbundling, which are kind of tied together because right now they are contradictory. So I have hopes of that because I would really like my main character to be both an armorer and a scholar, and I think that'd be pretty cool. LOTROs. Yeah, let me put this in. Look at LOTROs 2023. And what I really like about them putting this out is that at the end of the year, we'll be able to go back and say, hey, how many of those were they able to hit? And did things happen? And maybe they had to move things to 2024, or did they decide, oh, that wasn't a good idea? That kind of thing. Agartha says that they implied that the fourth profession slot is something you'd purchase, but they didn't specify how. Real money, LP, Mithril coin. Good point. That could be a thing that subscribers get for free, but free-to-play players maybe have to buy into per character. There's all sorts of monetization options that help keep the lights on for Standing Stone games. And so I have no idea what that's going to look like. But that's what I could envision, is that subscribers, people who pay a monthly or yearly fee, might automatically get that, just like we automatically get the second of your trait configuration slots on each character. But maybe if you're free to play, you have to pay that kind of thing. That would be very plausible to me. But again, I have no real details on that. Tune in Friday. Cool. All right. I'm going to save out that link and put it up there later. Great question. Bill Astrid says, "Cool, thank you very much." You are welcome, and both of those would be really awesome. I have hopes. I remain optimistic. What's really interesting is that, well, to me as a software engineer, that things that sound simple, like saying just let players have a fourth profession, could be tremendously difficult under the covers when you actually get down to the code. I was having this conversation with Little Redhead one day where we were talking about standard houses, and right now a character can only have one standard house. And I would bet money, knowing nothing about the code base, that there is an assumption anywhere where it's talking about houses that there's 0 or 1 of those. Like, there's not a list of them, there's not an array, there's not a table of them to go looking for. This character has 0 or 1, there's an ID of the house. If they have one, it's in a table somewhere. And the amount of effort it would take to add support for more standard houses is disproportionate to how it sounds. Because it's not even just a question of moving this one piece of information. It's adapting every place that thinks about the concept of a standard house to acknowledge that there could be more than one of them. And that's just behind the scenes. You also have in the UI the potential for needing to do more things, not just under the covers to support it, but also in the UI to display it, all of these things. And so I think it will be interesting to see what are the results when they actually make these changes. If they're able to make these changes, are there any interesting side effects that come out of that? Billy Ostrich challenges me to take on Sauron. I don't think I am prepared for that. Over here on Treebeard, we actually just have moved from the Rise of Isengard to the Riders of Rohan content. And so the Towers of Orthanc raid was available for the last 6 months. And I have gone in there maybe once or twice with my main character. But it's an interesting entrance because of spoiler reasons, the way it ends. Okay. So, we have sweet treats, and we want to be able to track that we are turning it in. So, for the sweet treats entry, which we know is 44 up here, we're going to go ahead and say turn in the sweet treats to serial, and we're looking for completed sweet treats in text. So, we can go ahead and unload and reload. That reloading, because Festival Buddy has a space in the name, it's a little rough. So unload and plugins load. Okay, so we have turn on sweet treats. If we finish now, we can see that that was marked success and is going to disappear. Awesome. So what does the guide say we should do next? Return to serial, and then go up nearby ramp to players tier so that we can take the stable master to soldiers tier to turn in artistic direction. Okay. Oh, I know why I did this, because the name Sweet Treats, we have like 4 things associated with Sweet Treats. We can't just name it that without having issues. Alright, we'll just call it Sweet Treats End for right now, because I like the idea of doing this. Okay. Artistic direction end equals 45. So same thing, we're going to come on down here. And have an end to the artistic direction. And that's going to be go up ramp, take stable master to wherever that was. Soldiers tier. Soldiers tier. Turn an artistic direction, and I like to surround those with single quotes to call out that their names of quests to someone. Not sure who that is. Thalarian asks, just out of curiosity, how long do you need to do 10 quests of the festival? I think Little Redhead's estimate was about 20 minutes, and it is partially dependent on if your character has travel skills to get to the front gate of Minas Tirith after battle, either with a fast cooldown milestone, or if you have personal housing and kin housing that's pretty close to your stable master and your housing, then I'll get back to Egg Arthur. So the quick guide that Little Redhead has includes several take a milestone down as a quick way to grab a stable master instead of riding through the city to get to the closest stable master. You can substitute in your housing travel skills for I think all of them that you need to do. So 1 milestone and 3 housing travel, the kinship members, your personal standard house, and your kinship member's house, and that's leaving off any premium houses that you've purchased. If you've got a premium house, and if you've got the little stable master, far-ranging stable master hook for your premium house, I think that's like a 1 minute or a 5 minute cooldown there. So you might as well do that instead of a milestone at that point. Either way, you don't need to have a 5 minute cooldown as a milestone. If you happen to have it, then you can avoid all the other travel, because the run into Minas Tirith after battle is long. So you're going to lose a few seconds there. So Agartha says, if you make the crafting items ahead of time, the 10 quests can be done in 15 minutes. Absolutely. I do a full circuit of the Minas Tirith quests without fireflies and without crafting, and I think 20 seconds is a fine estimate of that. Okay, so we were coming up here. Load. And load. Go up ramp. Take Stable Master to Soldier's Tier. Okay, Soldier's Tier. Turn in artistic direction to, I think that's Borlock of Rimmon, but I'm going to need help on the spelling. Borlock of Rimmon. So a thing that you can do is you can just say, hello, and semicolon target. And if you do that, it'll fill in the name of your target. If you, oh, did I say 20 seconds, Lyrian? I did mean 20 minutes. Thanks for catching that. And if you are in Say or Fellowship or Kinship, it'll substitute in the name of your target. Doesn't seem to work in World Chat, though, which is kind of embarrassing. So at that point, I can just select what I said in the Say channel, and that's Borlock of Rimmon. And that gives me an ability to get the names of NPCs, even if they have accents that my American-style keyboard isn't going to easily type. Okay, so we have turn on artistic directed to Borlock of Rimmon. And this is, we know that we can do that with a quest completion string here. So that's going to be artistic direction. And that's going to be artistic direction end. Awesome. I mean, if you can't do it in 20 seconds, that's on you. Okay, so we can go ahead, unload and load, and we have go up tier, take Stable Master to Soldier's Tier, turn on artistic direction to Borlock of Rimmon. Okay, finish now. And we can see that was auto-detected, and it clears off the to-do list. Fantastic. So, what's next? Turn on artistic direction, take Stables back to Player's Tier, and then turn right for one tasty morsels, and then back to the rat. I think breaking it up makes sense because it is easy to forget. What did I say? Player's tier? Player's tier. And it's easy to forget the one on the right. Go do, 4 of them on the left, and then you're next to Crazy Nut Lady, and it's like, I have to ride all the way back. So we're going to call out the first one. And that'll also be because we're using these steps to get up here. I'm sorry, that's probably pejorative. The confused nut person. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and take Stables back to Player's Tier. We'll maybe abbreviate that a little bit. We're going to say, I think 45's... Oh, is it going to have problems identifying duplicates? Oh, interesting. That is a downside. That's okay. So that is going to be 46. We'll name it in a second. Take Stable Master to whatever this was. Player's Tier. Okay. Take Stable Master to Player's Tier. Turn in artistic direction is from the previous one. Alright, head, right, and, I don't know, interact with a person. Dahir. And feed Dahir a tasty, continue, I'll just not be clever, continue, something, tasty morsels. Yep. And continue tasty morsels with Dahir. Okay. And what are we looking for? I don't actually know. So we're going to hit continue quest here. We won't get to test this out. Oh, that's unfortunate. There is no quest progression in the quest channel when you deliver a morsel. So we're not going to sort that out. You're just going to have to find that one on your own. If I come over here and continue quest, the one thing we could do is tell it you targeted them, but we're not getting any quest progression notification. That's okay. Actually, I'm concerned about what happens Like, are you given any quest notification? Okay. Okay, no. Ugh. Take play tears. Continue. Tasty morsels with, I think it was 5. 5. Udelin says, could that be a bug? It's probably working as intended in that I suspect the underlying data does not have a quest progression note to spit out into chat. Now, whether it should or not, that could be an oopsie doodle, as it were, on the part of Standing Stone Games. But I think it is correctly doing what it is supposed to be doing, which is not spitting anything out right now, because the underlying data doesn't have that. Now, either they meant to do that, they just didn't think it was worth it, or that was an accident and there should be something there, or it was left off intentionally because anytime you have something like that, like a progress override that gets spat out into the quest channel, that needs to be vetted by someone to make sure it sounds Tolkien-esque and translated into French and German. And I could believe, again, I have no insider knowledge, but I would bet a small amount of money, like 5 cents, that the release of Midsummer was running up against the deadline, the time of year they wanted to release it. And a few of those strings weren't getting translated in the amount of time they had left, and they said, just pull them, pull whatever placeholder you had and don't worry about it. I would say very few of the quests here so far that I've seen don't have that kind of progression, though. And so I could believe that it was intentionally pulled due to lack of time, but it was probably just an oversight or an intentional. And it's hard to know which. Again, I don't have any particular insight, but it feels like those are the 3 likely scenarios. But what a great question. It's fun to think about, why is it this way? And if it's not intentional, what could have caused it? It's a little game of make-believe, really, because, again, I don't know the answer, and I doubt I will ever know the answer, unless, in 5 years, that little quest output does start happening. But that's okay. We don't need it. Can you take away the 5? I think we're doing nobles here? Taste morsels. Okay, show history. To some of our loftier citizens. With 5 loftier citizens. So, we could either make this a manual thing. Dylan says, I'll check that tomorrow. I send in bugs. By all means, although there's a somewhat opaque process of submitting bugs to Standing Stone Games in that we can tell them that we have found a thing, but we won't necessarily ever hear back that it was a bug or that they're looking into it, because they'll do it on their own timetable, I suppose. So it is fun to see, after a while, something comes back and says, oh, this is fixed. And it's like, yay. Okay. So what is next on the list? Elon says, I've been sending in bugs for many years. Yeah, it's neat that we get email confirmations, because I can go back in my email and see like a bug report from 15 years ago. And it's like, oh, did that get fixed? And go back and track it down. I was like, oh, neat. Okay. So we either leave this a manual checkoff. Take 7 months to play here, continue to taste morsel with 5 lost to your citizens, or we just say, you know what, it's on you. So I'm going to say, we'll just say that it's on you. Go to Blue Theater, pick up, and what is that? Oh no, that's such a long name. I think this is going to be too long. Pick up something misplaced, something blue from someone. All right, let's go figure out who that is. Duelim. All right. So I say hello Duelim, and then I copy that out of the chat. From Duelim. Okay, let's see how terribly long that is. Yeah, that's super long. We're going to have to split that off on its own. Go to Blue Theater, pick up something misplaced, something blue from Duelim. Now, something I've wanted to add in here is that if you do a thing, it also completes something else. So let's see what that would look like. That would be also completes. I'm not sure about that name, but it's a something. And we can come in here and say that's 46. But before we start doing that, let's go in and name these things. Okay, so that was Tasty Morsels. Tasty Morsels complete equals 46. Coming on here. And this actually needs to be a table itself because there could be more than one thing that this completes. And then this is something misplaced pickup. Something misplaced pickup equals 47. Okay, so what does that look like? Well, this is a new quest. So we're going to come on in and say new quest equals something misplaced pickup, and then something misplaced something blue. That's what we're looking for. Okay, so what we would like is to code this up so that when we complete a thing, we can check, does this also complete something else, and mark it as done as well if it's not already. So for that, we have our quick guide window code. And we have a function in here that we're already calling. Not set visible. Let's shrink that down. Not the helper get checkbox. So mark complete. And we have an index. And so what we want to do is, we want to check if that index in the quick guide has what we're looking for. Okay. And then if quick guide, and that is the selected festival, and that's the index. So we want to make sure it's there, and let me finish that so the IntelliSense doesn't mind so much. And we're looking for, again, also completes, for lack of a better word. So we verified that there's an entry and there's an also completes entry, and then we want to iterate through each of them. Can never remember Lua iteration syntax, so Lua for syntax. So, this isn't generic for. Oh, I don't need that. Numeric for. Sure. Okay, so for I equals 1 to the number of the also completes, do We're going to grab that as a local, also index equals this. You know, the I pairs might be better. It's fine. I'll think about that. And then we just also want to mark that complete as well. So, also index. Now, what would like to keep in mind is that this could very easily be an infinite loop if the also completes is itself, so we don't want to do that. But what we want to do is try that out. And so what we're going to do is for 1 to the number of these also completes, we're going to get the index of I. Cool, I is going to be 1. We're going to get this, which is 46. We're going to mark it also complete. Awesome. Get checkboxes is going to find it if it's visible. If it's not visible, it won't find it. No problem. All right, let's give that a try. Let's come on in here and unload and then load. And we have, okay, Warlock of Rimmon. We're already kind of exceeding what we can see easily here. So let's bump that up to 43. All right, so we're looking to turn artistic direction, take 7 master players here, continue tasting morsels with 5 loftier citizens, go to Blue Theater, pick up something misplaced. So we can test this out. We can just go ahead and click that. And it did not work yet. And we have the ability to do some testing within the options because debug options are turned on. So if we accept something misplaced, something blue, going to come in and get the name of that. All right, so if we accept that, oh, there we can see it did work. Why did it not work on the if checked? If you manually check it off, what's the logic there? When checked, yeah, okay, that makes sense. If you manually check it, yes. But if the I can't think of an easy way to break that up. If I wanted to check it here and have that call the function that will then do something, then this needs to be in its own function. Okay, that can be done. So function quick guide when handle checked entry. And we're going to take in a list item, and that function is going to go ahead and do these 3 things. So we're going to set the hide time, set when something it's equal to it being is checked, set the background color. But if we uncheck it, just making sure. Yeah, if we uncheck it, that doesn't stay. Okay. If list item is checked, then we're setting it to that. Else, we want to set the back color to something. I wonder if we can just set it to nil. I think the answer is probably no, and that will do bad things, but we only one way to find out. Yeah, that didn't work. Okay, so we'll just set it to black because that's what we think it was before. Actually, the right way to do this would be to save off the color if we check it when we create it because of the potential for theming. let's go ahead and say list box get item 1. So local first item equals that, and then list box dot default unchecked color equals first item get back color, and then we'll be able to restore this later. But what we need is that list box, and list box was a local name for something else. So list box was stored in the parent. We have a reference to it. So in here, where'd the color go? Okay, it can't be list box unchecked color. It has to be the parent dot list box dot unchecked color, and that's what we're using. And that's a way to respect whatever theming was going on when we first created the checkbox. Yep, you don't know what that is. That's okay. Okay, green, and that didn't work. Okay. Okay, turbine.LOTRO, shell.WriteLine, setting this to that. Fantastic. Attempt to concatenate a field a table value. Really need the dump function. Do we have the dump function here? If not, we're going to pull it in. Oh, we do. Okay. Oh, of course. We didn't actually start calling this function. So now that we've got it, we have a check change. We can go ahead and say handle list item. Those go away. Yeah, I was afraid of that. Okay. Setting color to okay, well, we set the color to something that looks like it's the same thing, but boy, does it not like it. Although I do like the whole transparency thing behind it. It makes it harder to read, so we're not going to do that. That's the setback color, and so I think we're just going to hard code it for right now, and we'll deal with that later. That makes me sad. Okay, so list item, when we make it, list item set back color turbine.UI color.black, and we'll go ahead and use that instead. See how that goes. Great. Okay, so now that we've got this handle checked entry being called, what we'd really like is, instead of calling handle checked entry, no, all of this might be for nothing. So if you manually check it, we would like to also trigger mark complete at index. But that's going to call set checked, and that's going to be quite the circular logic. I think we'll just revisit that then. Okay, so how can we call this correctly when the user clicks on a box manually? Okay. To do. So that being said, if we go ahead and pick this up, we can go ahead and test. Whoops. And we see that both of those get checked. So it's just going to check off the previous thing. That'll have to be good enough for our purposes. Okay. So what do we do in here? Well, basically we want to go around and find the different members of the group. And what I would very much love is if we could know the name of who we're talking to. All right, so there's Pola. My concern is that we're only going to see, talked to one out of whatever. Whoa, what are you doing on the way over here? Directed the Cloudy Heads to meet backstage in the Blue Theater, 1 out of 6. Unfortunate. Paula stoutly says thank you. This theater is quite a bit larger than I remembered it. Unfortunately, she'll say that even if you're nearby and someone else is doing this. Yeah, Loretta thinks the words would be distinct. Well, for one thing, you can see that Paula stoutly is saying it. Is it possible to guarantee that the first thing you see after directing them is the person you directed saying thank you? Because they're close enough, you could hear a different person saying thank you to a different person interacting them. Okay, I think I will instead be sad. So we're going to go ahead and take this objective right here and pull it on into the objectives down below. And that's going to be 6 out of 6. And that's going to be something. So something misplaced complete equals 48. All right. Well, we're not going to do an also complete here. Okay, continue. Something misplaced, something blue with Paula. And I'm going to get the full list of their names from the wiki. I don't think I'm going to use their full names. Just the first name will be fine. So, with Holler, Paula, Froki, Gord, and Robbo. Oh, and Danar. Yeah. Robbo and Danar. Okay, so we know what that's going to look like. Something I will do, especially if I know which ones, like I can see them listed right here, is I'll just type into chat that I just did Paula. And then I'll make heavy use of the F10 key to find selectable NPCs near me. So I just did Froki, awesome. So Froki, there's probably a mnemonic here. We can see Robbo is ahead, and that's the next closest one. Actually, Robbo is upstairs. Okay. Rabo. Then the next one nearby. There actually isn't one nearby right now. That's okay. We keep on going. Oh, or I was mistyping. Holler! Okay, Holler is often up here, so don't miss them. That's 4 of them right now. We're going to assume that the other 2 are around. Dana is always in the back. In various places. You can tell her to get backstage, and she's like, isn't that where I am? It seems that you may be the one who is lost, friend. Dana. And then Gord is usually over here leaning against a wall or something. Nope, upstairs. Cool. So we can see continue automatically got checked off. Awesome. We do want to go ahead and remember to go place the flowers in the center. And finish arranging arrangements. And that's going to be 3 of them. So what are we going to write for that? All right. Arrangements complete equals display. What did I say before for arrangements? Arranging arrangements. Place 3 floral arrangements on stage. Awesome. Hi. Hi. Well, what's up, little one? Yeah? Yeah, you want to come up here? Yeah? You just want to say hi? Okay. It's not chicken time. Nope, that's my finger. It's not chicken. Okay. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and just pop back up here. We can see the floral arrangements 2 out of 5. And we're going to go ahead and bring that on down, and that's going to be 5 out of 5. Casper does say it's always chicken time, says Little Redhead. It's true. Okay, arrangements complete. The only thing we're missing is a definition for arrangements complete. So let's go ahead and declare that to be 49 for now. Awesome. So we're going to go ahead and unload. We're going to go ahead and load. Continuing with something misplaced, something blue with Holler, Paula, Froki, Gord, Rabo, and Danar. Could be even cool to put those in alphabetical order, I don't know. Arrangements, place 3 floral arrangements on stage. Awesome. And then finally we are going to turn in the quest. And so something misplaced end. That's my mental model for hi. Yeah, thank you for not stabbing me with your claws. I would love to pick you up and show you to people, but you hate that. No, I don't think your previous caretaker socialized you to be picked up. Okay. So, something misplaced end. We're going to go ahead and fill that in. I really need a third split here, apparently. And we're going to find a turn in. There we go. To copy. Turn in something misplaced, something blue. To, oh, what's their name? Dowlum. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and unload and load. Oh, we didn't actually set the objective. Something misplaced, something blue. Between those 2 new lines, awesome. And I'm going to go ahead and move this forward a bit to here, which is 47. Awesome. All right. So we're going to go ahead and finish off these floral arrangements, and we should see that autocomplete. That's a 3. I did actually do that correctly, right? Yep, 4 and 5. Fantastic. And at that point, we're told turn in something misplaced, something blue to duel them. Okay, we're going to go ahead and finish now, and that is turned in as well. Awesome. Okay, what is next on the list? So yeah, if you are doing the something misplaced, something blue, which you do not need to do for your 10 quests, but if you are doing it, highly recommend whatever key you have bound to select next NPC. For me, it's F10. So NPC, just spell it correctly. Search for NPC. Select nearest. I have F10. Select next is Shift F10, and if I want to cycle backwards, I can do Control F10. So if I overshoot and there's a bunch of NPCs, I can try to walk it back. But oh hey, good job, Casper. So I guess it's a little bit too far. Okay. So yes, I highly recommend having bound select next NPC, because once you've selected one of the cloudy heads, if you're only pressing select nearest NPC, you can't move on. So the F10 is great for finding the first one, and then whatever you have it bound to, Shift F10 for me to go to the next cloudy head. Because as you get more and more of the cloudy heads, you're going to need fewer and fewer. This comes in all the time, and I also recommend. Let's see. Item, there it is. I also recommend doing the same thing for nearest item, next item, and previous item. Highly recommend having these bound and knowing how to use them. So if you're pressing delete, and for me, delete to find the nearest node and or the quest objective or whatever, and oh no, it's branches, and I don't pick those up, I can just next, find the next one, shift to delete in this case. It's incredibly useful. Okay. That being said, use milestone, take stables to high stables. Awesome. This is where I'm going to use an alternate version of this, which I prefer, which is once you're at the high stables, do the things on the master, well, once you're dismount on your way to the high stables, do the master's tier first, then head on down and do the sage's tier, and at that point you're done. The original instructions ran down to the 5th tier, then came on back to the 6th tier. Totally get it. It's fine. And you may not actually be doing honoring healers. I like doing it. It's simple enough, especially with the F10 trick to find things. But if not, you might find that an inconvenient order. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and milestone, stables to high stables. Okay, so we're going to start with the milestone. And this is going to a cure for all ills. Well, we're just going to call that cure pickup equals 51. All right, now I'm starting to think that I want to be up here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and just copy a previous one, something to work with. Okay, so optional milestone, take stable master to something something to high stables. And then go to House of Healing, High Hall. House of Healing, High Hall, and pick up, I need to unify the language. Take a cure for all ills from something. I want to say it starts with an I. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use my milestone, but Again, you can use personal kinship or kinship member's house to get to a far-ranging stable master. If you don't have the milestone. I do have the milestone though, so I'll go ahead and use that. Okay. So, let's take Stable Master at high stables. Can do. High stables. Now, you kind of have to know it. We could put it early if there's enough room, but you want to dismount early so that you can head on over to behind where you're going. It's the first building on the right. And the Houses of Healing, the High Hall. Awesome. Eoreth. It did start with an I. Awesome. So, hello target. Then I don't have to worry about spelling the thing. And a cure for all ills from Eoreth. Alright, so that's going to be a cure pickup. And that is going to be a cure for all ills. New quest. Great. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and unload Festival Buddy, load it back in, and we can see take a cure for all ills from Eoreth. It didn't work. I bet there's case sensitivity issues. Let's go ahead and paste this in. Actually, we can do this. Yep, we can see that's a capital F in a cure for all ills. That's why we test these things. So that's what it will be. And we can go ahead and use that in our objective text here as well, so it's consistent. Awesome. So what's the goal with a cure for all ills? It's pretty straightforward. We're just walking around. Let me drop a few of these less active ones. Wow, it is bright in here. We're going to dispose of half-empty bottles in the High Hall and remove noisy revelers from the High Hall. Awesome. What does that look like? Let's grab the description for the half-emptied bottle of Falas Draught. First.
Can you tilt your camera
Not yet. We do have a cat lounging next to me, but he's just out of frame. Hey, you. We should raise you on up. I think he's forgiven us, maybe. We had to dust them with, well, not douse, but apply a anti-flea, tick, and worm treatment to them. They were not happy with that. For some reason. Okay. So, the first one of these is disposed of half-empty bottles in the High Hall. We're looking for 10 of 10, and that's going to be something. So, cure bottles equals 52. Cure guests equals 53. So, let's see what it looks like to shoo off a guest. Reveler, really. Okay, the Reveler says nothing but departs with a sour look. That's inconvenient. You know, it's all in one place, though. Oof. The Reveler says nothing but departs with a foul look. And we want to see that 6 times. We don't currently have a way to track how many times you've seen text. Hasn't come up yet. So I think we're just going to take it into account and also completes and not even worry about it. So come on in here. Now it might be a little excessive to have the what are you doing for the quest come in here, but we can always narrow down later and remove things if it seems excessively silly. So what we're going to do is come on in and do a cure for bottles. And then it's just, let's see, a cure for all ills, and whatever that quest objective was, which was dispose of 10 half-emptied bottles. And we're going to do something similar. A cure revelers. And we're disposing of, well, remove 6 noisy revelers. And then the drop off is going to be responsible for finishing that one. So a cure end equals number 54. And we're just going to turn that in. Alright, turn in a cure for all ills. And that's going to be Yoreth. So for that, we're going to bring in the finishing of that quest. Completed. Need to stop pressing the wrong button for page up. Okay, so that's the something misplaced end, but we're going to also completes equals a table, the first entry of which is a cure reveler. Cool. So let's take a look at that. We have, well, we're going to skip past the blue theater here. Alright, we've got a cure for all ills from Yoreth. Awesome. Now we'll just do our thing. So I do a lot of using my delete key in here to find the bottles. This room is so bright, especially on my display, that sometimes it's just like staring into the sun, and it's just easier to assume my character knows where these things are, even if I can't see them. I think it would be neat, maybe, to have a map of where these things spawn, but I'm not sure if they're always in the same place. I feel like there's usually 3 bottles over here, so as I continue to do this, I might add some more maps to individual quests as well. But this pet project of incorporating this this quick guide into the plugin itself, instead of having to have a separate page open, is definitely taking priority right now. Okay, so we got another half-emptied bottle. We can see we're definitely getting progression here, 8 out of 10. It's unfortunate that the Reveler saying nothing but departs with a sour look doesn't have an increment there. If it did, we could use it. If it was 3 out of 4, 4 out of, 3 out of 6, 4 out of 6, 5 out of 6, that would all be fine. Okay. So this should be the last bottle. So dispose of 10 half-emptied bottles. That one's done. Then we're going to come on over here to this Noisy Reveler. That's the last one. It doesn't get marked off, but as we circle back around here, maybe a dash, and turn into Yoreth, neither of them happened. Completed a cure for all ills. Well, let's take a look at that. Oh, I didn't fix the something misplaced end there. That'll do it. Okay, easy enough to try again. Because we can come into our debug capability and say, nope, a cure for all ills. And we're going to go ahead and complete that. Could not find message complete. What? Could not find message. Was that a me thing? Weird. That's strange. Could not find message. Oh, here we go. That was not specific enough. Okay, so quick guide completed quest strings. Oh, it is looking for that, isn't it? Well, we can try. Yeah, the new line embedding is going to be a problem. Instead, we need it to be... We need the options window to be smarter about this. So options, button, complete. Okay, awesome. Completed text, new line, and new line at the end. There we go. There we go. Okay, and that was a issue with our debug simulation of completing a quest, because in game you actually get two new lines: the new line after the completed, and then another new line after the name of the quest. So you got to be prepared for both of them. Okay, not a problem. So cure end is going to also knock off the Reveler's objective as well. Cool. Well, where do we go after this? We're going to go into the House of High Healing, House of Remedies for honoring healers. This one takes longer, so skip if you want. Again, if you're not using the F10 style select nearest NPC, it definitely feels harder. So I highly recommend that. Okay, so it's just around the corner. The second, right? And then we're at the House of Healing, House of Remedies. Okay, go to House of Healing, House of Remedies. Awesome. All right, we're going to go ahead and paste that. We need, what is this? Honoring healers. Okay. Honoring, continue. Oh, complete. Equals 55. Awesome. So honoring complete, and we're going to go ahead and go into the House of Healing. Well, really go to houses, trying to eliminate some characters. House of Healing, House of Remedies, and continue honoring something, healers, with 6, probably healers, right? I don't know. Let's start finding these things. All right, my first one I found over to the right here. Wow, he's booking. You. Stop moving. So what does that look like? Delivered thank you notes 1 out of 6. Great. With 6 healers. So that's going to look like this. Delivered thank you notes 6 out of 6 equals. And we're completing honoring equals honoring complete. Awesome. And I'm going to go ahead and move our counter forward here. That's 55, so we're going to go to about 53 or so. Okay, so that was the first healer. If I select the next one, we can see up here, this one's usually pretty stationary. So we're going to go ahead and continue. We got 2 out of 6. There's usually at least one in one of these side rooms here. There we go. One coming around the corner. No, yeah. And one sometimes standing on the bed because you just gotta kick back and relax. Alright, that's 4 out of them. The other 2 are usually on the other side of this big stair. Let's go ahead and do a dash. What is that? Charge. One of them's usually walking along here, and the other one's usually in or out of the rooms along this side. So let's select the nearest one. There it is, coming out of that room. And we're done. So that checks this off. In the meantime, we've still got our charge, so I'm going to head towards the door. As the quick guide notes, it's on the east side of the room. I may find a way to incorporate that here for those who get a little lost in there. And what next? Okay, so we've just finished up the Master's Tier, Houses of Healing, both High Hall and House of Remedies. So we want to move on to the Sage's Tier, 5th tier. So we're going to go ahead and take ramp down to Sage's Tier. That's the next thing. So, something equals, I don't know, I gotta copy that to start. Okay, so take ramp down to Sage's Tier. Sage's Tier. And then what are we doing? Alright, go to Houses of Lore. Go to Houses of Lore. Let's maybe get some sense of direction here. By doing it this way, the ramp down is right in front of us, so finding that should be no problem. At the bottom of the ramp, you're just turning right into the Houses of Lore. However, there is the question of how do you like to finish this up? At this point, we're done. So we need to get to a stable master for honoring healers, and we need to go to the top to turn in all the quests. And the stable master is not nearby, so this is a fine time for milestone, but you can go up to the top stable master. And in that case, if you're using your milestone, does it matter which one of these you do first? I don't think so. Okay, so Houses of Lore. Go into the Houses of Lore on the right and do something. This is going to be planting flowers, different flowers than ones we've already done. Sorry, not planting so much as putting into place. And this is going to be placed for arrangements, 1 of 6. Place 6 floral arrangements for something. This is for what? Something floral. Okay, so once we place the 6 floral arrangements, we are going to be... Alright, that is something floral equals 56, and that is complete. Alright, take ramp down to Sage's Tier. Go to Houses of Lore on the right and place 6 floral arrangements for something floral. Well, the first 2 of them are down here. Then we're going to go upstairs for the love letters, which is again made much easier if you make liberal use of the F10 select nearest. Oh, are they NPCs? No, they might be targets. Let's see what it is. So if you go up the stairs to the right, then I believe you... Wait, do you come out in the right room? If you go to the right, maybe you need to go to the left. Nope, it's the correct room. So if you go up the stairs on your left, you'll end up in the room that you want to be for floral arrangements. However, since you'll probably be coming back into this room searching for love letters, it doesn't really matter. Okay, awesome. Coladan, what ails you? So we're looking for love is in the air. And the is not capitalized. Great. So love pickup equals 57. And that's going to be a new quest here. Love is in the air. Now, I think the capitalization here is not quite right. So I'm going to go ahead and accept the quest and then copy the capitalization because it is a strict match the way we're doing it. Okay, so love is in the air, new quest, great. And let's go ahead and get one of these. Going. Okay. We want to take. Love is in the air from Coladan. We can see that up there. Okay, so that's love pickup done. Now, we just did pick it up, but we can fake it out by using our debug capability, accepting love is in the air, and it works. So what we're looking for are these wayward verses, and they count as an NPC. We can see if we say F10 here, we get a wayward verse. The only trick is you do need to lead it a little bit because it's going to keep moving while you are channeling, doing your induction. Okay, there's a wayward verse in the next room. Several. And if you are standing next to it when you start the induction, it'll probably get out of range, so you need to anticipate a little bit. There we go. Alright, so what's nearby? None of them are nearby. They do respawn pretty regularly. I think Coladan is a prolific, if not good, writer. There's plenty downstairs, but I find going up and down the stairs kind of tedious compared to the amount of time it takes just to run back and forth up here. So yeah, you can jump off and get them downstairs, or you can just, yeah, this one's back already. You can go back and forth up here. But if there's multiple people doing the quest up here, you might need to resort to going downstairs. Yeah, so making use of your shortcuts to find the nearest NPC or letter is going to make this much faster, much nicer than just running around looking for floating things. So we need to grab those. Oh, I didn't actually remember to put that in. All right. We need caught wayward verses, and that's going to be, we're doing a love complete equals 58. Okay, so we got the catch 10 wayward verses, and now we need the turn in. So love end equals 59. And that's going to be a completed string equals that. That was in the air. We got it from the game, so we know all the capitalization is fine. Real Tough says 6 verses. Well, what did I say? I did say 10. Thanks for catching that. Where's the other 4? Yeah, thanks for catching that. That was a copy-paste error because it was 10 half-emptied bottles, and my mind just glitched on that. Good catch. Fortunately, the display text is just for humans to read, where you can say whatever you want in the display text. That's just what's going to be on the line. So errors, well, we try to avoid them here. Those are less important than these very specific strings that we're looking for from the game. And of course, this is specific to the English client. I'll need to run through this on German and French and collect those outputs if I want this to be language agnostic. But that's a task for another day. Let me document this. No count. Need it 6 times. Okay, so we have caught the wayward verses. We're doing love complete. Completed love is in the air. Fix that typo. We've got love end there. Awesome. So we need a love end. Sounds very sad. All right, turn in. Love is in the air. To Caladan. Unable to load. Well, I did something wrong. Somehow I did not copy the trailing semicolon on that line, and that it will cause it to be unhappy. Awesome. Now, if I wanted to be really thorough, I could say that if you complete love is in the air, then it will also complete catch 6 wayward verses and take it from Caladan. But that kind of redundancy makes sense eventually. I think it's a little much for right now. It's absolutely true that if you turn in the quest, by definition, you've picked it up and caught all the verses, though. So that is something that could be done. Okay, so what happens next? We did the something floral. No, that's Houses of Lore. Yeah. We did Love is in the Air. And then we need to exit and go to the Thirsty Seer for the final barrel for What Ails You. Awesome. So, what ails you? Ails you 4 equals 60. Okay, so we're doing something. What ails you 4? We'll tweak with the wording a little bit. But we are in something. Houses of Lore. Exit Houses of Lore. Turn right. And go to the Thirsty Seer. Barrel. Alright, get barrel of ale in the thirsty. seer for what ails you. Okay, the only trick about that one is knowing where it is in there. So we're going to go ahead and skip forward in our numbering here. What ails you for? 60. So we're going to go ahead and say, nope, 59. So we're only looking at that one. Now when we're leaving, just as a shortcut, you want to be aiming for the southwest corner here. Because that's where the door is, underneath the southwest corner. So if you jump off here, you're going to be right on top of the door, and you can be walking off your broken legs as you're transitioning. But that being said, exit House of Lore, turn right, and go to the Thirsty Seer. Done. Get Barrel of Air in the Thirsty Seer for what ails you. Now, we happen to know that it is in, go all the way back and all the way right, so we should update that text. Go forward to wall, then turn right, and go forward into room. Let's see how long that is. Too long, but that's the general idea. You want to go forward and right. So go forward, then right. Get Barrel of Ale in the Thirsty Seer. I'll just delete the location because we've already used it on this line. And there we go. We're only 3 lines of text. So this is a barrel of ale. We've already seen what that looks like. Collected barrels of ale. And so this is going to be a final one. Collected ale, barrels of ale, 4 out of 4. And that's going to finish what ails you for. Steady Eddie says, do you ever use multi-line strings wrapped in bracket, bracket, space, close bracket, close bracket? I do not. Partially because I forget that that's a feature in Lua. But in other languages where I can use it, it depends on the context. There's a few cases. Like if you're kind of formatting a template for an email or something, it makes a lot of sense to have your 20 lines or something just as a multi-line string. But a lot of times, if I'm working in a professional environment and I have a fixed string that is that long, I'm mindful of the fact that that's going to need to get translated. And so it doesn't always make sense to have a huge block of text. But again, it depends on what you're working on. Sometimes it does. For what I do during my day job and for what I do during plugins, I often am trying not to put a bunch of text on the screen. Steady Eddie says, also, if you know of any function that does JavaScript like string interpolation, I would pay good money. I'm very used to the C# style string interpolation. So normally you have a string, and if you put a $sign in front of it, you enter string interpolation mode. And then you say, my name is, and then the name of a variable that's in scope in the context. And I am mood to see you. And so that's what a string interpolation would be. So you'd have the var text equals whatever. And so I would assume JavaScript interpolation looks something like that. But it's a really nice syntactical way to co-locate both the string and the thing you're trying to put in there. And yeah, I very much miss it. You can do string formatting in Lua. So you could have local text equals string.format, and you can say my name is and string, and I am string to see you. This is not really string interpolation, but it is string formatting, just like C, which is probably just passing it straight on through. And then you have name and mood, right? So if you have variables that are name and mood, you could do this, and so you don't have to do explicit concatenation. I don't know if that's answering your question, City Yeti, because of course it's not string interpolation, but it is much nicer than the naive. Here, let me comment that out. Oh, we're in the middle of a table definition. No wonder it doesn't like that. No, I didn't mean to close that. So here we're a bit, yeah. It is harder when you're working multiple variables, but I think it is nicer than to write sometimes than this. Right, because this is the other option here. Find name equals name. Okay. Only has one variable, but you set two. Oh, haha. Yes. So yeah, if you're doing concatenations, like this is kind of a poor substitute for string interpolation because you've got to do the ugly concatenation yourself. That being said, it's not the worst thing in the world. String formatting, you don't have to do all the ugly concatenation, but you don't have collocation, or you're pulling apart what you're putting in there, and then you have to know what type it is. Is it going to be a string? Is it a number? Is it whatever? Whereas with the concatenation, it'll just get coerced into a string. However, you can ignore it unless you really care. But no, true string interpolation, as far as I know, is not available in Lua, and that makes me sad. It might be possible to write such a function. I don't think it would be very performant, but to my knowledge, there's not one available in Lua Core. Okay. Neat. So we have what ails you, the text, and we have the progress for it. So let's go ahead and unload and load, and grab that barrel of ale and see it go check. Okay. City Yeti says, thanks, you're welcome. I wish there was a better answer. It is possible to, like... I say, is it possible? It would be annoying to write that. Because you'd have to take a string and try to use it. I guess you could look at the current namespace and try to find that entry in the table using the string. So, like, you know how you can reference into the global table? And then you can use a variable name, right? Like, if this were in the global table, it's not, it's in my plugins namespace. But you could reference it textually, and that's syntactically the same as this, right? Where here it's not text, it's a variable name, and here it is the key of a table. But since variables are just keys in whatever namespace table that you have, in this case it's going to be plugins, Cube plugins, whatever, Galahad plugins. It's not going to be in the global namespace, but you can use text and you can look something up in the global namespace. So you could do a substitution. You could look for the curly braces and you could pull that text out. The trick is knowing what namespace to look in. Look it up using a table key name and then get the value for it, swap that in, and you do that for each one. Be not very fast, but as long as you're not calling it thousands of times per second, whatever. But I think ultimately it's a lot of extra calculation for something that's like a syntactic sugar, more or less. So I don't think I would end up doing that myself. Okay, so we're actually getting really close to an end here because that was a thirsty seer. We want to go back somewhere. We need to get to a stable master. To the craftsman's tier to turn in honoring healers, because the postmaster is just off in the middle of nowhere compared to every other quest that we haven't turned in yet. So let's do that. Oh, that was an odd indent. What's going on here? Why are you doing that? Did I break something? I might have broken something. It's okay. Weird. Okay, so we need a honoring healers finish. So honoring end equals 61. And that gives us the key we need here. That tabbing is really weirding me out. What's going on? Why are you doing that? It's making me feel like I did something wrong is what it's doing. Okay, we want to do something like this. But instead of this text, we want to remind you that you could use your milestone here. It's optional. And if you, regardless, you're going to take Stablemaster Craftsman's Tier. Enter Halls of Craft or something like that. House of Craft. Awesome. House of Craft. Turn in honoring healers to Postmaster. Okay, it'll be something like that. And for that, we're going to come on in to the quest completion. And that is honoring healers. Great. Cool. So we've got the UI for it, the instruction. So milestone, don't mind if I do. Take Stablemaster to Craftsman's Tier, enter House of Craft, turn, and honoring healers to Postmaster. Can do. I like to end my 10 outside the Citadel, because on the next day I'm going to pick up all of those quests outside the Citadel, then milestone down to the bottom, out in front of the city stables here. Oh, interesting. Turn in celebration of Midsummer. That's probably in here. Use milestone and turn in wrapper. Yeah. Okay. Let's remember to enter that. Funny thing is, it's going to. Oh, that tabbing is so weird. Takara says Festival Buddy plugin. I didn't even know I was using the outdated version until now. Yeah, there's a patch, continuing support, I think I called it. So if you go to LOTRO interface, Festival Buddy, you're looking for the extended support. That's what it was. Extended support is mostly useful if you like Hobnanigans, but it probably did yeah, Fireworks and Brie support Hobnanigans, some Farmer's Fair stuff, so that's coming up here. I'm hoping to get out a release this week for the Midsummer. So there'll be a 1.2 point whatever, 1.4.5.2. There'll be an updated to this patch. Yeah, unfortunately, Takara, you mentioned Plugin Compendium. Currently, last I checked, Plugin Compendium doesn't have a way to support patches the way it does to core plugins. It's one of my things that in my someday when I have a free period, I'm going to try to update the code for the Plugin Compendium program so that it has a way to do patches as well. And push that out to Lunar Water as a, hey, maybe include this kind of thing. But there's just so much else going on, it never bubbled up to the top. But it is one of those things I want to do. One of these days, I may just release a Festival Buddy 2, because Galahad, I think, is perhaps not interested in maintaining it. And the original last Festival Buddy release, we're almost at 10 years. It's been 8.5 years. So it might be reasonable to just have a Festival Buddy 2 at this point. You say, cool either way you rock. Well, thank you very much. So yeah, sometime this week, I'll be posting on the forums, and it'll go out on LOTROinterface.com as well. and it'll be downloadable, and that will include this quick guide for the Midsummer, which interleaves the various quest objectives into one coherent list, so that you don't go and do all the kegs, and then you're like, oh, I could have done the wine one while I was there, or the to the last drop, or I could have done toss a coin while I was there, that kind of thing, because the objectives are all scattered all through, intermixed. Okay, but we want to complete in celebration of Midsummer, which we have definitely done by now. So, in celebration end, that's actually going to be number 61. Honoring is going to be number 62. And this is where naming these makes a lot of sense, because then we just don't even have to worry about reordering things in this table. Okay, so in celebration end, take Stable Master a milestone. Turn in celebration of Midsummer. In celebration of Midsummer. And let me get the spelling of that exact. And we're turning that into Phaleth. Awesome. So we're going to go ahead and get that. In celebration of Midsummer, we're going to go ahead and add another entry here. In celebration of Midsummer. And that's going to be in celebration end. And just for completion, we'll keep that in order. And then honoring ends, take Stable Master to Craftsman's Tier, in a House of Craft, turn in honoring healers to Postmaster. So we should be able to test both of these in the same go. Okay, so exit House Lore, turn right, and go to Thirsty's Tier, go forward, what ails you? Okay, check that. Milestone, done. Turn in celebration of Midsummer to Phaleth. Done! Okay, take Stable Master to Craftsman's Tier. Can do. Enter House of Craft. I haven't spelled out where that is. Maybe that's not necessary. I mean, it's on our map and it's right in front of us. Only problem is there's a wall between us and there, but... Okay, so House of Craft. Whoopsie. And a big potted plant. Turn in honoring healers to Postmaster. Coming on in. Okay, so that's done. And what we need now are the final quests. These are all done, and so we're going to turn these all in. House of Craft is far enough away. I could see in the when talking to the postmaster doing your milestone there instead. Either way. So, one suggestion, I can't remember who suggested this, but moving your dismount button to the bottom right so it's really easy to get your mouse cursor on it as soon as possible, as soon as you phase in, instead of somewhere in the middle of the screen. That's been really useful. It's not exactly at the bottom right, but it's close enough that I can get my mouse cursor there and do the final pixel precision to dismount in the first, very early time after phasing in, as opposed to just being like, where is it? Where is it on this character? Is it left? Is it right? Is it middle? Oh, interesting. X to mount, dismount. Does that work for... That doesn't work for Stable Master rides, does it? I agree, though. On a normal Stable, I put it down there just in case, but I have my Shift Q, so it's just underneath my left fingers here. And it's actually a holdover of once upon a time. I was putting the mount that I was using on Shift 1 before I realized that you could just remount whatever you used last time. And so Shift 1 was mount that specific mount, and then I just like, oh, Shift Q, that'll be easy. So let's take a look at the key mappings for dismount, remount. Yep, we can see. And of course, on my keyboard, what would be Q is an apostrophe, so that's fun. Travel, stable. Nope. As far as I know, there's no keyboard shortcut to dismount a stable master mount, and I could see that actually being a feature, not a bug, because it's, you know, you've just paid in-game money for this thing, and if you hit the wrong key, you're just like, oh, never mind. But I'm not sure. Okay, so we want to turn in these quests to Marillion. So we're going to go ahead and make new ones. Take Stable Master to, is it the high tier? What is this thing called? High stables. Okay. Neat. So take Stable Master to high stables. Run to square outside Citadel. Turn in. What's the first one she cares about? Something floral. Something floral. To what's her name? Aurelian. All right. So that's going to be pretty easy. I'm just going to go ahead and add something floral end equals 63. And we can run through the other ones real fast as well. So we want to the last drop end equals 64. Wedding supplies equals 65. What ails you end equals 66. Awesome, and we can do the same thing down here, just run through them real fast. Okay, so something floral end to the last drop end, and then we go copy paste the previous correct spellings of these instead of trying to guess them. So something floral, excellent. But it's a good point, Egg Arthur, about keybinds. Anyone who does not already use the mount, remount, or dismount, remount key binding, super useful. Just if you're dismounted, it'll try to mount the last thing that you were on. If you're mounted, it'll just dismount you. Instead of having to go and click that dismount button, you just have a keyboard shortcut instead. I use it for role-playing purposes. You know, I'm entering a camp and I go ahead and dismount to the gate, and then I walk over to the NPC instead of just like charging a horse right up into their face. But I also use it for a lot when I'm dismounted and it's time to mount up, because it's just, like I said, it's shift Q for me. So it's just my left two fingers and it's done. Don't even have to think about it. In fact, often I'm not thinking about it. It's just a muscle memory thing at this point. Yeah, this dismounting thing is probably more role-playing than anything. Like, you don't have to, like, the game will dismount you in most cases where you need to be dismounted. But I prefer not to, ride over my NPCs that I'm talking to. And in some cases, especially busy festivity NPCs, it's nice to not stick a horse on top of them. I mean, people can always select them with the F10 key, but not everyone knows they can do that, and so just in case they don't know that they don't need to click on it on the screen, it's nice to not like completely cover Marillion here. Okay, so we have the 4 quests that we're turning in here. We have the 4 we don't have. We need the 4 here. So that's the something floral end. And we're going to go ahead and do 3 more here, but that's to the last drop, wedding supplies, and what ails you. But copying that was probably a bit premature because all of these instructions are the same and not needed. All right, so turn in to the last drop. Turn in wedding supplies. I was reading a story about someone who was having issues with their wedding locale and casually mentioned the cost of the location they were having the wedding at was like $15,000. And it just made my head hurt. I'm all for people having a good time, and people get to choose how they spend their own money. It's fine. But spending $15,000 on a wedding feels not in line with my personal values. That's we'll just say that. All right, so turn in that to Marillion. Turn in that to Marillion. Awesome. All of those are there. Let's go ahead and unload. I can just think of a lot of other things I would do with $15,000. Okay, so where's my quick guide? Awesome. Okay, so Exodus has lore. What is it? Turn in celebration, Midsummer, Stable Master, and your house of crap. Yep, okay. Take Stable Master and okay, so we've caught up. We're gonna go ahead and turn in something floral. Awesome. To the last drop. Great. Wedding supplies. And what ails you? Now there are of course 3 more quests I think to turn in up here. So we're gonna run on over to Othnoren, the cook. That R is not where I want it to be. Okay, and this is tasty morsels, and so we're going to finish that up. So that is tasty morsels end equals 67. Okay, exact spelling done. Okay, and then we just need the final one. So that is going to be tasty morsels. And that is to whatever their name is. Hello, semicolon target. Great. And gotta be tasty morsels and awesome. We've already progressed over to 67, so I'm just gonna make sure that we're not getting swamped with old ones. Unload, load. There's an error. What? Why? I haven't touched the maze map win. 93. That's weird. Huh. Weird. Shouldn't happen, but it did. Okay, so we have turn and tasty morsels to Othnoren. Bam. Auto detect is working fine. Nope. Next one. Come on over to the florist. And we've got floral crowns. Arranging arrangements was... Did that get turned in somewhere else? Did I complete it on this character and I forgot? Must have. Okay, well, when in doubt, let's come on over to the wiki. And make sure we do indeed turn that into her. Arranging arrangements. Alright, starts at... Does not need to be turned in. It auto-completes when you place the 5th arrangement. Bonkers! Rotov says you finished that earlier. Yeah, I did not realize it was an autocomplete. Why not? Okay, so let's come on back in and just update a little bit. Okay, so arrangements. That'll be, instead of arrangements complete, that'll be arrangements end. Completes. No. Yes. Cool. Okay, so if we search for arrangements complete, there's no more. I get nervous about hitting replace all on something like that when I haven't tested it, so just step through one at a time. Okay, so cool. That's an internal naming thing, but just to avoid confusion, I just want that same suffix every time the quest is done, like turned in or auto-completes. And I'm not happy with, that was just something I did. I like to pair things up with like stop, start, or begin, end, or whatever, and so I would do a pass on this if I were releasing it today, and just like, let's try to unify this language. Okay, so floral crowns, we're going to go turn that in. Floral crowns end equals 68. Great. All right, so completing floral crowns, and then we just need that down here. So it's floral crowns, turn in floral crowns to florist, I think. Hey, you. Awesome. So unload, reload, finish that, bam, auto detect. I love it. Given the constraints that we have to do chat parsing, I've been really interested in what are the boundaries of auto detection for quest in that you have active, or like this. A lot of the text that we're looking at here is pretty vague. Completed, that's fine, but the progression of quests where it's like collected barrels of ale 4 out of 4, we don't know what quest that goes to. There may not be that many quests where you collect ale. But I guess it wouldn't surprise me if there was more than one. So if a plugin knew which quests you had picked up and which quest you had completed, then it knows which quest you have active, and it could limit its search for quest objectives to just those, which I think is a really interesting idea. But this is sort of my first delving into quest-based objective tracking, and just limiting it to some very specific items. Okay, well, what's our guide say to do? Because I'm pretty sure we're done. Okay, so take Sale Master Craftsman's Tier, turn in Honoring Healers, done. Head up to the top and turn in all quests, done. Turn in the wrapper, done. So that is a festival. What I don't have is a way to reset this quick guide other than logging off and logging back on. And maybe that's okay, but I feel like it'd be worthwhile to have a reset option at the very bottom. Like, I don't know. Reset equals index 69. We'll go ahead and say reset equals, and then this will be a special thing that only applies to this one. So equals that reset this quick guide. Now. Okay, and we'll just need a special thing, reset equals true. Okay, so reset equals true, and then in the quick guide window, when we're doing a completion, we can come on in here. Actually, mark complete. Okay, there we go. And then we want to do the same thing. We're going to break this apart, actually. Then, if and indent all that. Yeah, Earlin says, that's the only one in this festival to collect ale. Absolutely, but it would not surprise me if dwarves somewhere in Middle-earth had you collecting 4 barrels of ale. That seems like a Thorin's Hall kind of thing, right? So if someone came to me and said, oh, I found another quest where you're collecting 4 barrels of ale, I'd believe them, right? That's plausible. But absolutely, within this festival, I know that if all you're doing is festival quests, then barrels of ale is specific to one quest, and that's how we can get away with this guide without tracking which quests you've picked up or dropped off. Okay, so also completes is there. We're going to do another check for. Little Red says, unless there's a festival quest in Thorin's Hall. You know what? I haven't checked. This is just a quick guide for Minas Tirith. Reset, then. I don't know. How do we reset this thing? Well, we load. We call load. Okay. Then we're going to call that with selected festival. Okay, reset this guide. Okay. That didn't quite do what I was hoping it would do. Oh, of course, because that is a checking one. Oh, that makes me sad. Okay, checked entry, blah, blah, blah. Okay. List item dot index is that. We do want this. And that combination no longer makes sense, or is no longer necessary. If that, and that. Okay, we need the index. Let's index. Great. And reset, and then this. Okay. And the other thing we want to do is go ahead and stop hiding everything. Oh. Easier just to say if it's bigger than 0. And unload, and then load. And so this is the full list so far of all the things it takes to do this. And at the bottom, reset. So if I have turn, and I click reset, then they're back. Oh, that's really cool. So turn. Oh, that's cool. I can just click it as it goes past. Alright, so we've done a bunch of things. To the last drop, take the correct barrel of wine. Okay, so if I come and click reset, then we're back to in celebration of Midsummer. Okay, so we have a basic reset. Awesome. Cool. Okay, so just as a proof of concept, we should try this out with a character. So I'm going to go ahead and log off of Skillbox. And, oh, we're a little past time, aren't we? Okay, I'm going to try to do this very quickly with Barrimer, my Bjorning, and we'll see how it goes. Now, Barrimer has advanced a festival to the point where he can do those 4 quests from what's her name at the top of the ramp. And whatnot. So he's already talked to Aragorn. Wait, where am I? Aha. Okay, and we have in celebration of Midsummer, so let's open up that quick guide. Take in celebration of Midsummer, done. Take something floral from, okay. Something floral, yep. To the last drop, yep. Wedding supplies, yep. What ails you? Real tough. Can you release that patch so we can try it out before the festival is gone? Yes. My plan is it will definitely be this week. I'm going to do a few fixes and add a few more of these maps before I release it. But yes, like honoring healers, I want to have a map of it and whereabouts the healers are and that kind of thing. But yes, it's definitely going out before the end of the festival this time. I'm very, very happy with these. Okay, so take tasty morsels from Orthronon. That's really important to not forget that before you leave up here. Don't milestone early. Awesome. Go talk to the florist. Awesome. And then aiding the stable hands in the city stables. So one thing that I don't think Barrymore has is a 5-minute cooldown. So I might go ahead and grab one of those. So Traveler probably takes 2 L's. Okay. Expedient Traveler, return to travel to and milestone skills. That sounds good. And Traveler. Returning Traveler, return and travel to, nope. Hurry Traveler, milestone skills. So those are the 2 that you want if you want your milestones to be 5 minutes. I recommend all 3 on your main character if you have the LOTRO points to spend. But it's not mandatory. It's just a very nice quality of life improvement. Alright, so we're going to book on down to Minas Tirith after battle. You know what, I'm just going to go ahead and slot that there. Okay, so aiding the stable hands from Lobris and city stables. Let's go on in. So one of the things I really liked is the idea of adding little mini maps to help with a quest in here. So we can see for stables, we're at the front. I need to add a little label of where you are. But 1, pick up the brush and apples in the back, and then 2, here are the locations of the horses. So the map could be a little bit better, but it's definitely a good start. So take the brush, take the apples. Done, done. Let's start doing horses. And a big thanks once again to Little Redhead for making this guide in the first place. I need to find some way to credit her in the UI because it's a pretty cool guide, and I wouldn't want people to stop using that just because it's incorporated in this plugin. And yet it is kind of the implied side effect. Now I think a textual format on her blog is going to make a lot of sense for many people. Pomelo says, thank you, Little Redhead. Absolutely. Okay, that's 2 horses. So this should be the last of the feed 3 horses. Great. This will be the last of the groom 3 horses. Awesome. Let's turn that in. All right. Floral crowns. Continue to quest... I ran through a door. Continue quest with Forest Daughter. Collect 10 summer blossoms. One of these quests near the Forest Daughter had an issue. The quest didn't progress or something in the channel. So we're going to create a new tab here, just so we can track that. We're going to name that quest, and only quest will go here. So we're going to go ahead and turn off event and regional, turn on quest, and good. We can track what's going on there. So Forest Daughter, continue, and then we want to pick stuff up. Now, I do want it to automatically open the floral crowns when we get here, but that's a separate issue. Most of the flowers, I think this map is slightly off. I had to rescale it in the middle because I was running off the map. But most of the flowers are available at the other end, and you pretty much have to go to the other end to get them all. So I like to go to the far south end of where the flowers are and start from there. So that's down here. Since you have to basically come all the way here anyway, you might as well get the large clump of flowers over here. Now we are getting these collected summer blossoms. I think Oh. Oh, that's paired. That's what's going on. There's some pairing going on, just like with the oh, what is it? The wedding supplies. That I did not expect. That's why I found them and they're on the map, but they're not on the map while I'm doing it. Okay, I feel better about that. I need to mark which ones are paired, I guess. Okay. I wonder if you can pick these as a bear. I mean, that would make sense, right? Nope. Requires human form. That's just crazy talk. The redhead says, I didn't know about the pairing for flowers either. Yeah, I started to suspect earlier today when I was running through this question. It's like, wait a second. I guess that's a reason not to go to the far end, because what looks like a cluster of 8 is really less than 8. But there are 2 tucked back here. They both work. They are nice to get. Okay, that was collect 10 summer blossoms. So now we're going to continue Quest of Florist Daughter and craft Floral Crown, which is... Okay. If I recall correctly, there's no quest... Yep. There's no quest linkages there. So I'm going to make a note to myself. Floral... complete floral crowns when artistic direction is picked up. And that'll at least auto-check it off the list. Now I can check it manually though. That's not a problem, because I've crafted my floral crown. So we're going to ride back over to the Stable Master and take to Soldier's Tier. Okay.
How may I help you?
Or not, because I forgot to get that. As Little Redhead mentioned on the last stream, if you haven't manually walked up to the Soldier's Tier Stable Master before, it's going to give you a hard time. Guess what? Mithril coins exist. Okay, so now they all are there. And I want to go to the Soldier's Tier and take Artistic Direction from Borlock of Rimmon. Great. Auto-checked. Go south left to the Splintered Shield. Can do. I was trying to incorporate this information just on the Festival Buddy window itself, and you can see how complicated, like, you get artistic direction, and the first thing is, do something else. Do a completely different quest first. And it got to that point where it's like, okay, this isn't good. I want each quest reference in Festival Buddy to just focus on that quest. And I want the quick guide to be the optimal route, or an optimal route between each of the various quests, interleaving the objectives as appropriate. Okay, so we're in here. Toss a coin from Ulthir upstairs. Can do. I bet he'll be excited to see a big bear charging him. Okay, so he will ask you to toss a coin, a nice pop culture reference that surely will never age. And we come on over here, we get Lutus number 1, and I recommend just jumping on downstairs from here. You'll get the one on the stairs and the one at the bottom of the stairs on the way back up anyway. And you can toss coins while you're in bear form. True fact. Skip the room on the right, come onto the room on the left. You can interact with this minstrel from downstairs, Harper. Then come on back to the room that you passed. All right, in here we have a flautist. We also have one of the barrels of ale. And we also have the To the Last Drop. So we're going to go ahead and grab that. We can see it is, I think it is this one here. But let's come on over to the Last Drop, and we can see, oh, it's that one. Awesome. Don't remember to pick the stupid thing, the cask up once you identify the wine. So many times I find the wine and I'm just out. And it's not enough. You have to grab the barrel of wine. And you won't get credit on to the last drop until you actually pick that thing up. So we're going on back. We've already done 4 of the 6 minstrels, so we want to pick up Harper at the bottom of the stairs. And then there's one on the landing in between the 2 levels. Okay, that's the last of the 6 minstrels. And again, jumping down means you're not running past these any minstrel twice, except the one by the fireplace. That's okay. Okay, so we're done there. Go south to the Mumok and keep for second What Ails Ya Barrel next to Mumok. Can do. One reason I switched over to my Bjorning is they have the Wanderlust, which is just a fantastic way to deal with all of these buildings. All right, let's go ahead and mount up though. And Mumok can keep. Hey, Casper. I know. Almost bedtime. For the cats, anyway. Little Redhead says, that image is going to be so helpful in game. Yeah, it's a fantastic image. Thank you, Egg Arthur, for making it. I thought I'd have to go make it myself. And it was just there on the wiki. Put up last year. Great job on getting it and making it a reasonable size. I was able to plop it in pretty much as is. All right, this is the barrel next to Mumok. Okay, we're then going to go ahead and milestone. Or just run out to the nearest stable master if you do not have 5-minute cooldowns. If you didn't know, you can hit your mount up shortcut if you have it while that transition screen is running, and you'll usually be mounted up by the time you phase in. All right, we're going to go to Craftsman's tier, and we're going to dismount as soon as we phase in because we're going to the bottom of the ramp. And we're going to talk with Lebadar. Okay, artistic direction, yes. Get growing pains, yes. And we're going to do unhelpful hounds while we're here. I feel like there is a pattern to which hound it is that has the ring, but I'm not confident in my belief. That one. There we go. So the fact that I can get it on the first try on a semi-regular basis suggests that there is a pattern, but it's instinctual at this point, right? I don't know what it is. Anyway, those auto detects did not work. Why not? Unhelpful hounds. Let's go check that out. Ah, well, we have a completed Unhelpful Hounds, but we don't have a new quest. All right, so new quest, Growing Pains. We're going to want new quest, Unhelpful Hounds. That's going to be something. Okay, take Unhelpful Hounds. That's going to be 26 for right now. I need to go back and fix that. But what about the rest of it? Alright, so found the missing ring. Okay, completed Unhelpful Hounds. That should complete number 22. That's totally wrong. That was a copy paste. Unhelpful Hounds completed, that is 28. Okay, so that's why we test things. So taking and turning in both are done. So back to the ramp. And we're going to go ahead and grab the wedding supplies at the top of the ramp before we circle around to the potter and get into the House of Craft. Go faster! Minas Tirith is so big. I appreciate the scale of it all, but come on. Alright, so we get that the supply crate out here. If someone else just got it, it's a paired version of it just around the corner here that you can get. If both of them are gone, go inside. It'll both of them will be respawned by the time you come back out. Okay, in here, same thing. There's a a couple of wedding supplies. I don't think these are paired, but they are popular. So if either of them is missing, wait around for a few seconds. But there are other ones if you have to bypass these. However, if you do get these, then you will satisfy the grab 2 more wedding supplies, and don't forget honoring healers on your way back out with the postmaster. Now at this point, we're going to go ahead and do the growing pains. Which at this point, you're going to come out and just ride to the far end. We just want to ride all the way around to the very end, nestled up into the hills. I'm going to guess you can't water bushes or pull out weeds in bear form, which makes me sad. And as we're done with that, we'll go ahead and use Milestone, or again, run back to your nearest stable master, or use travel skills, and get to a stable master to go to the craftsman's tier. So we can turn in growing pains, because it's a long run back. Okay, when you get here, don't forget the pesky weeds by the fountain, and the ones just around the corner here by the plaque. Very easy to miss those, and then you'll be almost done and have to run all the way back over here from the other side of the garden, and it's annoying. Agartha points out the weeds here and the bushes are not exclusive. You can water them with someone else doing so. Excellent point. These are more maybe traditional quest elements. Oh, since we're going to Milestone, let's get the pesky weed by the entrance, which again is when you have to run back for, before we go into the final corner over here. Yeah, the ones where you pick them up and they just disappear for a while before they respawn, those I imagine are really tricky when Minas Tirith is heavily populated. But, watering these plants, no problem. Okay, we can see we're done. We're going to go ahead and Milestone on down to the front, take the Stable Master to Craftsman's Tier. And again, we're going to do a quick dismount because we're going to the bottom of the ramp. Craftsman's Tier, Craftsman's Tier. Knowing which tier is which, as Little Redhead pointed out, is a bit of a pain. So I'm just spelling it out the way we see it in the game. Alright, come on down, turn in Growing Pains, and then we're going straight back up the ramp. This is sadly just the kind of the optimal time to do it. He's always a little bit out of the way after you get to the garden. Alright, so closest Stable Master is right here, so we're going to head on up to the Player's Tier. And dismount down, go talk to Ciriel, or Kiriel. Alright, Artistic Direction, advance that. Sweet Treats, don't forget to pick up the plate, which does not offer any quest text, so we have no way to verify that you did it. So, find the 2 guards, and that'll prove that you did it. Okay, that's number 1. The second one feels really far away if you're not used to it. You got to go around this into the next courtyard. And it's not that bad, but it just feels like, have I gone too far? Have I gone too far? No, it's fine. Okay, back south. Right behind Kiriel is one of the wedding supplies, and very nice to pick it up on the way. As we've seen, these will complete out of order though, so there's no harm in just skipping it, getting it when you come back or something. But I just like to get it. If it's here, I want to get it so that if it's not here on my way back, it doesn't matter. And if it's not here, I can get it on my way back. So it gives me a second chance here. Alright, so we have a hungry guard. There's another wedding supply here on the left. Again, it's paired with one just around the corner, so one of those two should be here. And then there's the final guard over here. All right, don't turn around yet. We do want to go over to the Merry Swan. And we'll actually pick up, that's where we started this stream a couple hours ago. That's where we're going to pick up with arranging arrangements and what ails you. I like to go to the stage first. That keg is just a rough angle to try and get from this side of the banister. I think it's possible, but I prefer just as we're running back to slip up the stairs on the side here. Okay, so we've got the barrel. You can get out of here if you run around the table especially, but if not, you can just go back to the stairs. All right, turn in sweet treats to cereal. Dakota says, I, quote, hate programmers. Not really, just kidding. They make it seem easy to work, learn to work with Lua, but it isn't. The only other time I tried, I ended up grabbing my hair in despair. Yeah, I have never tried to learn programming using Lua. I've just, I've already known how to do programming and had to learn how to use Lua and the strangeness of Lua. I don't know how friendly of an environment is to learn the basics of programming, but even even now, I've been doing plugin development for LOTRO plugins for a few years now, and I still have to look up and remember how to do a for loop in Lua because it's just different from every other language I tend to work with. Okay, so we're up here. Go ramp. Oh, take a Sailmaster. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. To the soldiers tier. So I don't know that I would say working with Lua files is easy, but now that I've been doing it for a few years, it's pretty comfortable to just throw in a new feature. And it's really flexible. Okay, back to the players tier. So, as we saw earlier, when I wanted to add something in, like, oh, let's just add in a reset feature. Because everything is just a table, and the tables let you arbitrarily map key and value pairs, I can just add a reset here, and I can just add some code that says, hey, if there's a reset there, then do something. And it's really, I don't know if lackadaisical is the right word. It's loosey-goosey. It's, it's kind of a double-edged sword, but for little light projects like this, it's really handy to just be able to say, hey, I got some stuff, I want to stick it somewhere. Any object that you have, any UI control, whatever, you can just stick stuff in there. And we did that, this was off stream, but every one of these rows in the UI is a list box, is an item, which is a checkbox. And I just go ahead and say, hey, by the way, you also have a table entry called index, and that's the number by which I'm going to refer to you by. It's super easy. You don't have to do anything exceptional. You just, the control is also a table, and you can just add arbitrary key value pairs to that too. So you can stuff information wherever it's kind of convenient to stuff it. And from a architectural standpoint, that's maybe not the best thing in the world. But from a I want to knock out a feature real fast and see if it even works perspective, it's super handy. Okay. That was the 5 taste of morsels, but we don't have quest objective. Okay. So we're going to continue on to the Blue Theater. So I feel like there's some definite double-edged sword there, double-edged blade, where that freedom and that flexibility is great if you know what you're doing. I don't know if it's a good idea if you don't know what you're doing. But I'm not here to gatekeep people. Like, if you want to program and you don't know what you're doing, I'm not going to stop you. All right, so that was Pola. Oh, that's the quest giver. Don't want to Pola over them. Nope, that's Pola again. Froki. Who else is nearby? Oh, Holler is upstairs. Dakota says No Man's Sky also uses Lua. So does World of Warcraft. So does Factorio. It is a common plugin language. Okay, that's 4K. I'm using my Select Next NPC button, which is Shift F10, while I'm running around here, as an attempt to just find the next one. Oh, there's Robbo. Robbo appears to be in front of the stage. And since Robbo is here, I'm going to go ahead and do the flowers while I'm here. If I don't find any of them on or near the stage, I'll tend to do this last. I'll just run in here and then run straight out down to the exit. But again, we can do these in either order. Awesome. Duck backstage because what's her face is usually back here. There we go. Danar. Get backstage. I am backstage, yes. Okay, and we only have Gord left. I'm not going to bother writing this down anymore. Gord's usually over here. Gord is over here. Awesome. I wonder if I can tell them to get backstage. In bear form, you can. That's awesome. Okay. So, turn in something, misplace something blue. Can do. Alright, and milestone. Dakota. No Man's Sky uses Lua, but just for recreate mods, modders... Oh, okay. Modders deliver it in a pack file for the game to read it. My understanding is a pack file is sort of like a glorified zip file. Is that right? Sailmaster to the highest stables. Can do. Not in bear form, though. Go to the House of Healing, High Hall. Ah, man, this is like recent that we were doing this. Now I kind of wanted to take a timestamp when you start and when you stop and then tell you how long you did it, took to do it all. Alright, grab the thing from Yoroth. What's up, Casper? My goodness, it's bright in here. No worries, Dakota. I'm going to say the entire game comes in pack files, but inside it's mostly binary. Not so good on programming languages, so sorry for mistakes. No worries. I was watching a fascinating video the other day on a wild Doom mod, and it was mentioning pack files, and it was the first time I'd thought about pack files in a long time. Okay. That's 7 of the bottles to clean up. There's one usually tucked around this corner here. I think these also disappear when other people are nearby. The revelers produce more of them very quickly. So 2 or even 3 people can quest in here without much trouble. I wouldn't want to be in here with, I don't know, 5 other people. But Little Red-Head and I have often done this questing together, and it's no problem. We just are on opposite sides of the building and kind of rotate around in an orbit, and by the time one of us gets to where the other one has already been, everything's respawned that we need. And we've even done that with another couple of players nearby as well, or at least one. Okay, that was all of the drinks. That's everything, so we're going to talk to Yoroth. Okay, finish that. That auto-completes those 2. Excellent. Go to Houses of Healing. Can do. Again, you can go out of bear form and mount up while you're in the transition screen, if you're lucky. Okay, as soon as we phase in here, we're going to start using our F10 key to try and find the nearest healer. We're going to see one's ducked in there. Oh good, we can talk to them in bear form. That makes sense. Can't rip weeds from the ground, but we can talk to healers. Fantastic. Oh, here's one coming out. And usually there's one in this room as well. Oh, maybe not. Here, let's look around. That's thrown me off a little bit, actually. Okay, well, it'll be somewhere else. What about you? Aha, there you are. You and your floppy hat. Okay, that's 4 out of 6. The other two are pretty much always on the other side of these stairs. Takano says, since when are you playing LOTRO? I have been playing LOTRO actively for a couple of years. Early 2019, maybe. And a while after we got started, Little Redhead and I, with Lord of the Rings Online, I got interested in the idea of making some changes to one of the plugins I was using, which was the Minstrel Buff plugin. And then it's all sort of gone from there. Alright, we can see we're done in here. We're going to take the ramp down to the Sage's Tier. Alright, Houses of Lore. LOTRO is a very interesting game to write plugins for because there's a smaller scope of things that you can do than in some games like Lord of the Rings, than World of Warcraft. And it's, I guess stable would be a very good word for it. There's not a lot of developer time at SSG spent on the Lua API, the way that plugins talk to the game. And so things that were written 5 or even 10 years ago have a really good chance of still working. So plugins, you can find them in the outdated or something category on lotrointerface.com, and they still work. Certainly some plugins, some class-specific plugins especially, have stopped working over the last 10 years, but a lot of things will still work. And in a game where there was more activity on the LOTRO API side of things, you might not see that. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword there. Some of us would wish for a bit more frequent updates than happen, but that would potentially break more plugins. And it's not a paid position. We just do this as a labor of love, as it were. And so it's easy to sort of do it for a little while, then decide to go do other things with your precious spare time. And so a lot of plugins that were written 5 or 10 years ago, the developers who did that, they've moved on to other things in their life, which is totally understandable. Oh! Stop moving. There we go. So I'm using the Select Next NPC, F10, and Shift F10 to find these wayward verses. I don't really like running around and just trying to find them, so I much prefer the game to tell me where they are. I like to think of it in sort of role-playing terms that my character, Barrimer, can hear these things in a way that I, as a player, just can't, like the rustling of paper on the wind or whatever. So it's totally fine to just use these keyboard shortcuts, because it's just tapping into the knowledge that my character has that I can't have, because I'm not physically there. Or, as a Bjorn, you can probably smell paper. So, jump on down, and head on out. I didn't actually check my list. I'm on autopilot here. Exit has a lore. Go right. Go into the Thirsty Seer. Okay. Go right. No. Go forward, then right. Get barrel of ale for what ails you. Fantastic. Milestone. Okay, and this is where we just drop everything off. We're done with everything. We just need to go through the process of finding the quest givers. So, we're rapidly approaching the end of my stream. I'm going to go ahead and turn everything in, and then that should be it. And now's a great time if you have any last-minute thoughts, comments, questions, concerns, to pop them into chat. Otherwise, we'll try to get to them next week. So, Faileth here. Finish. We're going to the Craftsman's tier. And there are, of course, other quests for Midsummer besides these here. We already talked about the fireworks quests. We're not covering those. There are the quests in each of the settlements, Bree and the Shire and whatnot. We haven't gotten into those. And so this is just, if you want to do that 10 quest wrapper, this is just a very easy way to get that done. As Agartha mentioned and Little Red had mentioned before, there are crafting quests with Melthend there that will also count towards your daily 10. So you'll want to do the quest in the various locations like Breetown and whatnot in order to get those, in order to turn them in. If I remember that correctly, it's been a while since I've done that. We're going up to the high stables and we're going to dismount when we get there. So even what we've just seen today, this is an extensive list of things that you can do in Minas Tirith that all clump together very nicely and give you lots of tokens. But this is not all of the things you can do at Midsummer. So if you want even more tokens than what you would get from this, there are ways to do it. That being said, each of these looks like it's giving about 3 Midsummer tokens, 4 if you've got a Fateful Toolkit, which I do not on this character. And we're going to go ahead and turn stuff in. Fantastic. And one last one. Fantastic. Well, Tukado says, thanks a lot for your work in streaming. Before you have a cool mood. Thank you very much. All right. So I like to leave characters here because I like to pick up the quests from Morellian and the other two before going down to the front and picking up the wrapper. You can do them in either order, and that way I'm already here. I don't have to get up here from the high stables because the lack of a stable master here up on the Citadel level, just a little, so I'm already here, just going to log off right here. But that's it. That's a full Midsummer Minas Tirith quest run. As long as you have an asterisk that says not fireworks and fireflies and not crafting, but it's everything else. And you can work the fireflies in as well, but you do have to leave Minas Tirith to go to one of the 4 basic lands to grab the fireworks and then bring them back here. So if you're just looking for those tokens, you're just looking for those wrapper completions and just trying to bam, 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 get them done, skip the fireflies unless you're looking for the deeds. Skip the crafting unless you're looking for whatever that gives you, and just focus on 10 or more of the quests that we did today, because that's a super fast way to get them. Cool. Well, I'm going to click that reset. It's all back. Fantastic. And we're just going to go ahead and leave it there, I think. All right. All right. Nothing else coming into chat? Oh, Defeated asks, what plugin was that? That was the Festival Buddy plugin. Let me pull up my plugin manager. So in the let me refresh that. Festival Buddy is a plugin originally made by Galahad. You can launch it if it's closed by /festival. And Festival Buddy has context for a bunch of different festivals and quests within them. So for instance, the To the Last Drop quest is a bit of a puzzle where you're trying to find the 1 out of the 9 glasses of wine, which is the correct one. And so Festival Buddy I'm going to release it this week with Midsummer updates. None of the Midsummer quests were in there. But for instance, at the I meant to say Farmers Fair, if you were looking for, a nosy request or a market list or little things to help you go through and complete the quest, so the references in case you can't remember what to do, that kind of thing. So that's Festival Buddy, and it's going to come out this week with an update for Midsummer, and probably several updates after that as I refine things and make it work better for how I want to use it. Takada says, been using it forever, updated even better. That's awesome to hear. I hope Galahad knows how popular it is. Alright, that's everything we're going to cover today. Thank you so much for joining me on this exploration of LOTRO plugins. I do hope to see you all here next week, and until then, keep plugging along. Alright, bye-bye now.